Welcome everyone to another Buildstream. This is Buildstream number 7, and today I'm excited to meet with Christopher and Fabian from KYVE. Sorry, that was a quick switch there. But today we're going to learn about getting the most out of Celestia Data, and I'm glad to be joined by Fabian and Christopher from the KYVE team today. Christopher and Fabian, nice to be here with you. Could you please give a quick intro?
Yeah, thanks for having us, Josh. We're really excited to be here. With KYVE, maybe just a quick word to that. What we do is we focus on permanent verified blockchain data, mainly Cosmos data for now, but also EVM data. It's really like the core thing. And then around that, we have kind of like different developer tools that make access to this data easier. And then just a couple of words to myself. I'm Fabian. I'm the co-founder of KYVE Network. I started KYVE, what's now like 4 years ago, I think. Time flies by, but I'm a software developer. I started out in the KYVE space, so I kind of came in from like the permanent data angle, and then had a little product there called Verify, where we were kind of like verifying like what addresses were bots and what weren't and stuff like that. And then I got contracted out to build the very first version of KYVE, which was requested from the Polkadot team. And they were like, hey, like we want to have a permanent archive of Polkadot. Can you build that for us? And I was like, sure, happy to do that. And then I realized like, oh, like if my code is like there you go. Am I back?
Yeah, you're good. I'm glad you noticed though. It was like right at the point where we needed to figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Whew, good start.
Yeah, you're good.
So basically, yeah, the kind of like the question was like, oh, what happens like if my code that creates a backup like has a mistake, then the backup is unusable, right? Or like I could maliciously modify the backup, and that would also screw things up. So I started like exploring the idea of like decentralizing that whole like data archiving part, because it allows like more like scalability on the user side, on the blockchain side, and also more accessibility for devs. And yeah, then like really had some success. We had kind of like all of the early chains on as like early users. We're talking about like Near and Avalanche, Polkadot, and so on and so on. And then really like build it out that blockchain idea. Cosmos SDK L1 since, Christopher, correct me if I'm wrong, I think 2023 now was our mainnet launch. And then, yeah, now working with Celestia Data also for over a year now, I think. And kind of like archiving that and building some tools around it. But we will deep dive into the Celestia specific things in a second. And then Christopher, off to you.
Cool. It's really I want to cut you off real quick. It's so cool to hear how KYVE started as like this thing that just needed to be done. But yeah, Christopher, great to have you.
Yeah, you definitely are right there. So yeah, great to have me as well. Thanks so much. I'm Christopher, software developer here at KYVE, and I'm mainly working around the tooling to access the data sets and to leverage it as efficient and as easy as possible. So yeah, very happy to talk today about how we can get all the best of the existing Celestia data set we already validated and archived.
Awesome. And I think we're going to be going through a few different ways that you can interact with KYVE to interact with Celestia. And I guess to set the stage a little bit, I think we're going to be going through something that's useful for maybe someone who is just like a consensus node operator, maybe someone who's a developer building an application, and learn about just the ways that you can use KYVE to sync Celestia data or to retrieve it. So without me spending too much time on that, do you want to go ahead and get started on kind of teaching us about what KYVE has going on?
Absolutely. Yeah, I can maybe just quick give like a quick overview about kind of like the KYVE working with data and stuff, and then Christopher will dive deeper into like the individual demos. So at KYVE, we have like 3 main ways for developers or actually target users really to access data. I mean, we run a lot of nodes in-house at KYVE, so we really knew the pain of like syncing your node, getting to know kind of like all of the upgrade like history, like what upgrade happened when, where were many secret security updates and where not, and just to put it short, like syncing a node is a big pain. Especially back to historical heights, it's impossible. Many people also don't know that I can't just say sync a node please to this height and then this will work. Also impossible. And this is exactly what our first tool is doing. It's called K-Sync. That allows you to sync any Cosmos SDK based node to any height that you want, also live height, a lot faster than basically your traditional node syncing, because it fetches this data from KYVE, because it knows it's validated. It doesn't have to fetch it from the network. And it's just a super easy like node running experience if you're a validator, RPC provider, and things like this is kind of like our first target, basically. Data pipeline. We also in-house do a lot of data analysis of big data. And I mean, once we have all the raw data, the question is, well, how can I work with it? And traditionally, you need a database. And so you need to get this data into a database. And this is where our data pipeline comes in. It works with Google BigQuery out of the box and with Postgres as well. You can just connect it. You put in your credentials, press a button, and it has like recurrent syncing, live syncing, and all of these things. So you can really just like work with your data very seamlessly. If you don't want to sync the data yourself, we also have pre-built Google BigQuery data sets. We will share the links, I think, at the end of the call to everything. And you can just like sign into Google BigQuery, click on Celestia Data, and you have an, I think, updated every 8-hour full-on data set, even a little bit pre-processed into like a nicer tables to make it very easy to work with. So it's kind of like an indexer on steroids, basically. And our last tool, which is now like a part of the main KYVE tooling family, was actually requested by the Celestia engineering team. This is our trustless API. And they're like, the problem is really, hey, how can we access the KYVE data in a native way for us as developers, so that we don't actually have to set up any other crazy tooling, but we also don't want to set up an archival node, because that's even more of a pain than running a regular node. And actually, so Christopher spearheaded the development there for the trustless API, where we basically store the data together with a proof, so you know that the data you receive is also untampered with. It works. It mocks an RPC endpoint, and you can really just seamlessly integrate it into your application. And then, yeah, now Christopher, off to you, and let's hope that the demo gods are on our side with that today.
Hey, it's not a demo if something doesn't go wrong, but that's really cool
You're right,
about all of that, especially the trustless API.
All right, then I will take it from there. Thanks so much, Fabian. And I will quickly share my screen. Please let me know if you can see everything here.
Yep.
All right. So first of all, we have this small little but beautiful ecosystem page. Showcasing and previewing all of the potential and accessible KYVE Celestia integration tools. I will definitely share it in the chat, or we can share it afterwards to link it to the call, so you can also access it. But today, we will present to you the tool set Fabian actually already elaborated. So we will start with a quick demo of K-Sync, which will be used to sync a Celestia app. And then we will head over to the Trustless API. There I will show you quickly how to access the Celestia app and the Celestia node data. And then afterwards, we just quickly hop into the data pipeline and the public available data set of Celestia. If you have any questions, please let me know, and then we can definitely talk about, or a deep dive as deep as you want. All right, then let's start with.
I want to interrupt real quick. That being said, if you have questions, drop them in the chat somewhere over there, and we'll get to them during the call or at the end.
Perfect. That sounds like a good plan.
Back to you, sir.
All right. K-Sync. So K-Sync is a node running tool, and with K-Sync you can sync your Celestia app to any height, to any historical height in less than 5 minutes. This is done by downloading the already validated and archived blocks and state sync snapshots. But I will quickly show to you. I think that will be the best. And we have this new version of K-Sync, which will be released within the next days. So this right now is only available on a branch, but it will be released within the next days. And we can just quickly have a look at the new setup command. With the setup command, you can then quickly select Celestia. This is everything like live demo. I haven't prepared that much, so hopefully everything will go well.
And more fun that way.
And then we can start by installing the Celestia binaries. Actually, here we are using the Cosmos chain registry entry of Celestia, as well as a source registry on our side, which is curated and well tested, to actually use the correct versions. And there you can, for example, select the seeds and the persistent peers for your syncing process. And these are used from the Cosmos chain registry, for
This is
example.
awesome.
And then this is all in one command. And there you can see your Celestia app is starting to sync. This will take some time, as the Celestia stack is, to be honest, pretty big. So the state snapshot will also take some time, but it will be successful for sure. And we can just see here that K-Sync already selected the correct Celestia binary, the correct version, and it now starts to sync. It then loads the already validated and archived blocks of Celestia that has been archived through our protocol from Arweave. So this will be also will work permanently. So without the need of requiring to the peer-to-peer network of Celestia itself. And the best thing about this, it's already validated. So there is a hash that has been produced by the KYVE protocol to make sure that the blocks that are downloaded and executed are the correct ones. And then I would just stop the syncing process here, and we can see with the already correct Cosmovisor setup that when we start the Celestia app, we have synced to height 67, app height 66, state height 66, so the last block wasn't executed. But there you are, and you have your synced Celestia app already ready. Another way to sync, and this is probably the most suitable and the most efficient way, using the height sync. And the height sync is a combination of a state sync and the block sync, which we have seen earlier. And it's super simple. You just have to type in height sync. You just need to point to your Celestia binary. I'm using the Cosmovisor binary for that one. Current Celestia app. And just need to select the target height. You can select any target height, any historical target height. K-Sync will make sure to find the fastest way to sync to that height. I will just now type in a random number, like 20,123, for example, and then we can see K-Sync starts to sync the Celestia binary. And there we can see a snapshot at height 20,000, a historical created state sync snapshot, and 123 blocks are used to sync to that specific height. Nice. And then we can see the state sync snapshot should be downloaded, and we can see it here. Again, this is downloaded from Arweave itself, and it is also be validated locally by K-Sync to make sure that this is actually the correct state sync snapshot that has been produced. So it's not it's a better way of asking anybody, hey guys, does anyone have a state sync snapshot for that specific height? This is the way more secure and in my opinion also the way more suitable way of doing this. And again, you can do this to any historical height, and it's super fast, super efficient. And let's see, all the state sync snapshots have been downloaded and are now applied to the state. Again, Celestia state is actually pretty big, so you guys have a lot of going on.
We're definitely also battling streaming gods.
Okay.
I was gonna interrupt you and ask, why would you what is the reasoning that it's more secure to download from KYVE with those snapshots? How does the proof help basically assure you that you don't have anything that's junk?
Yeah, exactly. For example, if you want to, if you may ask a random guy on Telegram or even in a Telegram group, if one could send the state sync snapshot to you, you can get it, of course, and you can also use it to sync to your node, and you also may end up in the correct block hash, for example. Everything is definitely nice. But you are still not 100% sure if that was the correct data, and it's not 100% corrupted. And because, for example, also events or anything else that is not consensus relevant could be corrupted. But this is more like theoretically, and this is no practically threat. But we do it beforehand, like we do the validation. So this is nothing centralized. So we don't are dependent to one single node operator that creates his own state sync snapshot. And this is all done in a decentralized process on our protocol. And all of the validators that are in this Celestia state sync pool at that point need to vote on the proposed state sync snapshot. And then only if the majority votes that this state sync snapshot is correct and is the same that they have on their local machine, only then the state sync snapshot is uploaded. So you can be sure that like a bunch of validators running their Celestia node locally are sure that this state sync snapshot is the correct one that you are also using. So you can understand it as like you are not asking like a random Telegram group, but you are asking a Telegram group of friends or people that you are really trust.
Yeah,
and
that's sweet.
These guys back this whole thing with actual value in form of the KYVE token. Like this is the whole economic security you have there.
Nice. That's awesome.
Exactly. And here we can see casing successfully finished the height sync, and we are at this specified target height. I can also just start real quick to actually show you that this actually worked. So we can see it here. The app height is at 20,123, as well as the state height. Yeah, that's here. So, and we are synced. And yeah, you are definitely invited to check it out. Also, have a look at the upcoming release and with the setup command, which is super handy in my opinion. So definitely check that out. If you have any questions, please reach out to us even on our Discord or like any other way, or on a Telegram, for example. And if you want to use it, you can just go on the GitHub on KYVE Network Casing, or just we have also a casing page where you can get everything. Also, you can go to our docs basically to this is only like a quick thing, but you can also type in Celestia and you have a quick start how to do it the fastest way. So there are definitely some ways to try it out. But yeah, if there are any questions, I would love to talk about it later. But now I would move on to the trustless API. Fabian just explained it earlier. So the trust API is just another way of accessing the validated and archived data set. Of course, an API endpoint is just like a low-hanging fruit, as it's like with the for example, like basically the best and efficient way and the most used way to access data, especially in Web3. So we have the Celestia block and the Celestia block results endpoint for the Celestia app data. We can, for example, check it out to get the first block of Celestia. And then you have it here. It comes also with a proof that this data is, again, validated by the KYVE protocol. But let's now focus on the Celestia node part, because we also, we are not like limited to the Celestia app data, but we have also Celestia block data. And there I have opened Selenium, like the Celestia block explorer. And here, let's just jump to random block and search. So here are some blobs, and we can just search for a blob for a certain namespace. And this is the well-known get all query with the Celestia block height and Celestia namespaces. Which block height was that?
And I guess if you're using for the strings, it'll be base 64, right?
Exactly. We use base 64 for the namespace as well as for the commitment for the query, same as the node does as well. And we can see here, maybe I can show it just in my in another tab. So it's nice formatted, and we can see here you have all the blobs in one query. And the good thing here is that this whole API is totally trustless, so you have the proof. But if you don't care about the proof, This API is still super efficient. It's free, and it doesn't come with a rate limiting. So
Wow.
yeah, you are invited to use it. It's just like public accessible. If you want to use the proof, you can. Probably even when it comes to using blobs, you probably don't care about the proof. But yeah, you are happy to or invited to use it. And we can also have a look at the commitment.
That's a big blob.
Yeah, it's a big one. And to search for this specific one to just check if the get query also
I
works.
didn't know there was no rate limit. That's awesome. I feel like this could be a good way for someone building an application, like maybe during the Mammothon right now, to have some backup provider even for the data, rather than having to have some node running all the time to retrieve something historical.
Absolutely.
I think
Maybe
you definitely
also
want the
adding
node,
there,
but
the
like,
cool thing is,
yeah.
all the code for this is also just open source. You can also just like run the Trustless API yourself if you don't want to use our hosted version. The cool thing is it's not actually running an archival node. It's just an interface that sits on top of KYVE
Nice.
data, which is really nice. So basically, it's like super lightweight, even if you want to run it yourself with your own backup. Again, it's all trustless. It's all like proofed for you. You could just run the proof yourself as well. It all comes out of the box. But yeah, we offer it as a service there just for free to use with no rate limiting. So feel free to go crazy
That's
on
really
that
cool.
on that endpoint.
Definitely. Yeah, and like also like this has all the historic data. So it will always have the historical data of Celestia. It has a gap actually to the live hide. So it's dependent to the pool archiving and validating the Celestia data. And so it's definitely focusing on the archival data. But again, like has in the best case, it has like a 2-minute gap.
Oh, really? That's it.
Right now, like the pool is a bit more behind. I think like 100,000 blocks or so,
Yeah.
but it will definitely catch up in the next within the next days. And then we have like a pretty small gap, especially when it comes to accessing historical data. Sorry. All right, but if you don't care about a node running, if you don't care about like accessing a Trust API, like having or building an indexer using this data. So if you don't care about this at all, we got you. We have indexed and normalized it and transformed it all by ourselves, and with all our knowledge in the Cosmos SDK, and also through the connection to the Celestia team. And we actually built like some pretty nice normalized tables in BigQuery. Again, these are all publicly accessible. If you want to use them, go crazy on it. As Fabian said, you can use it for free. You just need to access the BigQuery datasets. And there you have a lot of data already indexed. You can, for example, build dashboards out of the data. You can just do your taxes with the data, or you can just like query stuff you would love to know about Celestia. And I've just prepared like some high-level queries here.
You might need to zoom in a
Yeah.
little bit, Christopher, for that.
Doesn't make it go too weird.
Yep.
Yeah, like BigQuery
Yeah,
is a bit weird from formatting, but I hope you can see everything.
Yeah.
And here, the tables include transfers, blobs as well as blocks, events, and transactions. Like it includes Celestia Node and Celestia App data. And we have also some views that shows real-time balances, delegations, and validators. And I've prepared some queries for you. For example, if you want to see all transfers, this was just a random address. So if it's your address, sorry, I selected it from a random block. But for example, we can select all of the transfers that you have done like in 2024 or starting with 2024, for example, to do your taxes. And you have a table and the result, including the transfer ID. This is just this is not so relevant, but you have the block height, and you have all the transaction hash, you have all the events, you have the sender, and especially the amount, and everything you need for the transfers. You can then, for example, like combine this query with another one, with the transaction query, to get some more idea of the transaction itself. And here you have like everything else, which is included in the transaction. But you have also the transaction events. So you can get actually everything what you want, what you're searching for within this BigQuery data set. And if you want to, for example, query your address, real quick, you can just query your address. So or your amount, your balance of your Celestia address. Exactly. You can like this was just like 2 minutes, just dumping some high-level queries. You can definitely go crazy on this. Again, this includes a lot of Celestia data. You will definitely find some useful queries, especially when you are if you love to dive into data sets, or even if you just want to know like high-level stuff about Celestia, this can definitely be your entry point for this whole topic.
Nice.
And maybe one little thing to add, Christopher, that I saw was that we have the transfers, blobs, and blocks, but there are also two tables which are the Genesis tables down there, Genesis, and that's also really interesting from like a data angle, which is that on Cosmos, when you create the blockchain, you have a thing, it's called a Genesis file, which is where you code in like which person is receiving how many tokens at Genesis, what should happen there. We also compiled this into a table format for you, so you can actually also query like what happened block 0 of Celestia, because that's data is usually not part of the blockchain, so you can also find it there, and it's already combined into all these other tables. But if you want to look at this separately, you can also find it there, which is really interesting.
So like, I've never actually used a BigQuery data set, so I'm curious if this is something that you could take and just like get all the total average blob per day or something like that, like average amount of blobs. I feel like that would be an interesting just like first experiment to play with.
Definitely.
I know another one that we wrote down was like daily active users, but yeah, what was that, Fabian?
Yeah, go for it, Christopher.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like it'd be cool to see.
Go ahead, I'm already preparing. Go ahead.
Nice.
Okay. Maybe also adding to this, if we still have time later on, we might dive into this as a demo as well. We have a fourth unofficial product from KYVE. It's not part of like the 3 main pillars of KYVE Access. It's called DataWave. You can check it out. It's called datawave.pro. It uses all of those tools under the hood. And there it's actually just like click together like your dashboards and stuff like this.
Should we use that?
If you have a question like how many daily active users do we have, you can just click it together.
Should we use that instead?
Yeah, we can. I think Christopher's preparing the query right now, and then we can also jump into DataWave so you can see it.
Yeah, I saw that on our list. I didn't know if you were gonna alpha leak it or not.
No, it's all good. It's all good. And I mean, so the nice thing in the BigQuery is there's really everything is in there. It is also backwards compatible, which sounds a little counterintuitive, but with all the old Cosmos versions, right? Like so many like message types are changing and things like that. It's really kind of like complicated, and so we also make sure that it always has the same format across any point in time.
Sorry to interrupt, but there's your query. I just sorted it by the blob count. So where the most blobs, like the day with the most blobs, we can also group it by block height, or we could also do it for like the size of the blobs.
Yeah, let's do that. August 20th looked hot, I guess. Nice.
Yeah. Node operators probably remember.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Exactly like. But again, like this like the schema is super easy to understand. Queries like this, just access it, again, publicly accessible, and you can just start. Like this could be your first BigQuery query.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
that sounds like a good idea. It sounds like there's something even more exciting than BigQuery to show us. Is it DataWave time?
Oh.
I think it is DataWave time, Christopher. Do you have it ready?
Oh, I actually haven't prepared that one, but yeah.
Go for it. Let's do it on the
I'm
spot.
glad that we don't need to prepare that much, as it's like it actually. I think Fabian, interrupt me if I'm wrong there, but it kind of started with a crazy idea of, hey guys, like KYVE internal, like we had this huge amount of data. And combined with the deep knowledge about the the Cosmos SDK and like especially everything that goes around there. And we just started thinking about, okay, how can we leverage it and how can we make it like attractive for people like you, Josh, for example, and that like you don't want to dive into BigQuery, you don't want to write queries by your own, but you maybe
probably not realistically,
yeah, exactly. You could, like, no offense there, but maybe you're just not interested in it. So this is why we created DataWave, and it started pretty basic, but it then it made a lot of fun to actually like work on this topic and work on this app, and we ended up with a like it then took a quick AI route, I would say, and then we ended up building like a dashboard focused app where we have the data that we create in our data sets and combine it with a lot of cool things. Like here, for example, we have the Celestia daily active users. And like this is the chart created from the BigQuery data set. And on the left-hand side, we can see a totally dynamically created AI report about that data, and which gives you a bit more context. Like, for example, if you are into Celestia data, or if you are new to Celestia Data, you could use DataWave to actually get a first idea and get also like a first idea of the data that you can see. Like, for example, here you can see that the query is first explained, explaining the whole query itself, giving you a bit more context to the query and to the data itself. Then you can see some key insights, like, for example, that the active users increased by 70%, which is super nice, or that the highest users reached on 17,600 users for one day for Celestia. And this is actually a pretty good ranking, says our AI. And you have also like a quick report of showing the key insights in word form. And you can also ask, like, what does daily active users mean, for example? And you can also ask the data set, and if the AI needs more context, it will also query the data set again. And like it's just a cool idea to interact with the data and to get some more fun out of it, instead of just having a node running tool and having the BigQuery data set. Because like for us developers, it's great and it's lovely to see, but for probably most of the users, this will not like be attractive at all. So this is why we came up with DataWave. And yeah, Fabian, maybe add something else if you want to. Otherwise I would dive into the AI.
I mean, maybe just quickly show like how you can just create a chart. I think that's pretty easy. We have like the time series charts. And so maybe to add some more context, we of course don't have this data only for Celestia. We have it for really any Cosmos chain that we work with. And so, for example, if we look at fees USD, is maybe interesting actually, Christopher. And then we can like split it by blockchain. For example, there you can see how much USD fees every blockchain is doing. Don't worry about the Celestia, as Christopher said, the pool's just catching up with the data. But you can really see like how much USD fees is every chain generating per day, which is usually, for example, things I don't think many people are aware of. And it's also not a stat you can just find aggregated so easily. While Christopher clicked save, the AI went ahead and then created like the chart. So they can see the ranking.
Sorry for the title.
That's okay. This is really cool. This is like I mean, you already said it yourself, but like a Dune Masari AI agent mix, but for multi-chains rather than just being like an EVM focus or Solana focus.
Kind of.
And it is also neutral. So it's not like that we have kind of like KYVE biased it or whatever. As you can see in the ranking, we've been pretty honest about those stats. And yet the Celestia data, of course, would catch up. But just quick idea, Christopher, how much fees does Celestia make a day USD if you hover over 1 day with Celestia in it?
Oh, it is showing.
Around $1,900 a day in terms of revenue fee. I think it's, for example, super interesting for me, like DYDX. It's interesting because, I mean, their fee structure is a little different because you get the trading fees, right? And not on not the TX fees. So you can see they, for example, have quite low TX fees. But we have tons of other metrics like daily active users, for example. I think there's this Cosmos dashboard too, where we are comparing like different things.
Interesting.
date that one is.
Yeah, that's a relevant
like-
topic for us. There's a new
That's
CIP to
inflation growth, I think,
reduce
right?
inflation.
Exactly. Yeah, inflation. This is the revenue by TX basically, and you can also just kind of click around. It's just really like a
Yeah.
fun tool if you want to like very easily explore like some data. You can go for this. It's also connected to Dune data under the hood, so we also have out of KYVE scope data sets available. Using the Dune API if you really want to just kind of like. I think we have Solana as well. I think in there, so it's like a requested feature, and then. To add some more context, this was like the initial version, and then we talked to some people, and this was in December last year, where the AI agents were really big, and we started to realize a couple of things. Like for example, we had it like where I said, "Oh, I don't know. Like, are you aware that I think Celestia is having $2 million a month inflation? Like, do you? I guess isn't that too much, right?" And then other people were like, "No, I don't think so because it's like free money when I stake." Of course, so I actually realized that you have a fact, but you can have very different opinions on it depending on what angle you look at it. So we just here for the fun created 4 AI agents that have like different biases. So we have Ava Diaz-Balart. She's an astro girl. She always tries to find some correlations with the stars, basically. We have Bob the Builder, who has like a tech background, kind of like analyzes like this. We have Vince the VC, who gives a kind of like I need exit liquidity kind of bias to it. And then we have Dan the Degen, who really just cares about that the token goes up, basically. And it's really funny to just kind of like chat with them over facts. They can also create the charts for you. So if you ask them like how many active users do we have on Ethereum or whatever, they go ahead and create it. It's really kind of like a Christmas fun project that we started. And this is the whole look and feel of this app. You can check it out. It's datawave.pro. It's also just free to use, and you can just play around with it. It's not something that we right now heavily promoted under KYVE, but it's definitely a fun tool, basically to play around with. And we're just excited kind of like to see what gets created out of the things you can do there. And yeah, this includes all the KYVE data. So yeah, feel free to check that out.
I was expecting it to be in some private beta or something. I'm
no,
excited to play
you can
around
just
with it.
I mean, things will break as they always do, but just play around with it, have some fun, and report the bugs to us, and then we're
Someone's
happy.
got to break it, right? Yeah.
So exactly. So yeah, just really have fun. Also, funny thing is, I know we're talking to a lot of devs there. The API actually that is doing all the querying and stuff is a very cool semantic layer GraphQL API. Kind of getting a little nerdy here, but it's also a very, very nice query interface. If you want to query all the KYVE data using GraphQL, it's fully documented. You just have to go, I think it's api.datawave.pro, if I'm not mistaken, Christopher, /GraphQL. You can also play around with this if you kind of want to have the in-between of like nice way of querying all the KYVE data, and it's not BigQuery, basically, right? Is it api.datawave.pro?
Yes. I would send it to you, Josh.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, just you can also play around with this. It's really just like a nerdy side note here, but this is really kind of like what then it's like our latest product created, kind of like stacked on top of like, oh, now we can do this, and now we can do this, and now we can do this, which is really exciting. And it's all based on the data pipeline, which is the very core tool of getting like the KYVE data into a database. Chris, I don't know, do we have a demo prepared for that as well, or is it?
To be honest, not. But I can maybe briefly explain it. It's just a very efficient. We actually focused a lot on that part.
But it's super confident in that.
Yeah. It took a lot of time to make it as fast as possible because like we played a lot around with like data pipelines in general, and it was to be honest a huge pain most of the time or all of the time. And this is why we ended up, all right, let's just build it ourselves, because we just need to load it from Arweave and validate it through a KYVE node and then upload it just to BigQuery or Postgres. And then we ended up building it ourselves. It's called KYVE DLT. And it's just a simple way of loading raw KYVE data, but also some kind of normalized. So it's definitely also an ELT pipeline or an ETL pipeline, some kind of schema. What you select, but you can load the data from KYVE and load it into your BigQuery or Postgres destination. Nice. Can you still see me? I just had a notification that my connection was. All right, perfect.
You're good now. Yeah, I got the whole thing somehow. So
Nice.
I guess that was pretty much it, I think, for what we had prepared, right? Yeah, thank you guys. Data wave, I hadn't seen it before this, like you actually showed us, and that's so cool. So I'm excited to see what people do with that. I would jump
Same
to
here.
Q&A, but there are no questions in the chat. Brightly Steak, what's up? They said nice. I think it was about the data wave. But I guess that was pretty much it. I guess, do you guys have anything else? I'm trying to think if we are missing something that we had planned.
I just wanted to say, if you are willing to check out our tools and the tools that we presented, I would love to get some feedback or maybe ideas, or maybe, as Fabian reported, like some bugs or things that don't work. We would really love to see, like especially data users, which are probably a very small portion, especially in the Cosmos ecosystem, to use our tools. And we are super in love with the data, and we would love to build the best out of it. So if you have any concerns or any problems using the data or accessing the data, let us know, and we are pretty sure to find a way to resolve it and to make like this whole data journey in the Cosmos ecosystem as best as we can.
Amazing. I feel like, do you want to do a quick demo with a rollup as an example with a BigQuery data set?
What do you mean exactly?
I'm thinking like something specific to a rollup developer. Like, let's say Eclipse wants to go look at their rollup more closely. I don't have a great example, actually.
I think like
yeah,
was freezing there.
I kind of just heard Eclipse and do something with rollups.
Sorry.
Yeah, definitely.
I was just gonna say, maybe we could do something that looks at like the average amount of data posted per day for the last month or something for Eclipse. Just as like one of the top users of Celestia, I was curious to see like how we could make this useful for people who are building already.
That actually might be a good idea. And what do you want to see there exactly? Like, do you have something in mind, like the day, or?
Yeah, let's go with like total blobs and average blob size or something like that.
That could be actually cool. Let me just.
And I know, I guess this is stuff that you can get from explorers and things, but I think it's also useful to know that it's also possible to like programmatically query it.
Could you maybe provide? I got it here. The Eclipse namespace ID.
Yep.
Yeah, and then maybe, Christopher, if you could just share your screen as well while you're preparing the query and stuff, so we get an idea of like what's going on in your head and how you're constructing the query.
Definitely. I'm currently searching for the namespace ID.
Sorry, I'm going as well.
I'll send it on Slack to you. Should be this one. I got it from.
You can see the namespace ID. Like, this is the format the node or the transaction gets it, and this is the format. I'm sharing my screen real quick there.
Yep. I'm also lagging. Sorry. Okay, cool.
All right. Like, this is the format. I'm searching for this specific format. I can see the namespace ID of Eclipse here. Sorry, but I have to zoom out a bit so I can see like anything. And we had this query like right here. It's a namespace ID.
Maybe I'll just quickly like narrate it while you type it. Basically, in this collection, we have, of course, all the blobs with like all of the sub data, including like the namespace ID. So what we would do here, we would tell BigQuery like, hey, please select all blobs that have this namespace ID. And then we can say like count it and then do, for example, the average per month, which I think Christopher's doing there by grouping it by day. And then you're counting how many blobs we have to use, and you have the limit 1 in there, Christopher. Just
that's
because I think you
That was
saw
from
the
earlier. Yeah.
maximum. Yeah.
that's fine.
And then let's see namespace.
I've probably messed up the prefix.
I sent you the full ID on Slack if you want to check.
Oh yeah, I haven't opened Slack yet.
My bad on throwing you all a curveball.
No, it's fine. And thank you, Bradley, also for sharing it on the chat.
Yeah, thank you. Really
here. They were missing some zeros.
The wrong prefix.
Oh my
Then we have
gosh.
20th August with 250,000 blobs. Like, this is a
That's
huge
wild.
And yeah, maybe Chris, just remove like the limit so we can see like all the top blobs or whatever by day. And you can see it there. What's going on? So pretty consistent, like 25,000-ish blocks in October on the Eclipse side. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, so this is cool. Again, sorry for the curveball. I just wanted to go into like a roll-up specific example.
Do you have
but dang, yeah,
idea?
that is a shit ton of blobs. Thank you guys again for showing us around KYVE. I learned more about KYVE today than I knew existed, which is awesome. I want to just like do a quick shout out to anyone who's watching for the Mammothon. We have a hackathon going on right now. And if you're not registered, this is the place to do it. You can go to mammothon.celestia.org. So if you are interested in joining, we have 250K in prizes available, as well as mentorship and post-hackathon support. We're doing 3 tracks, where the first track is building unstoppable apps, second is crafting on-chain worlds, and third is upgrading the internet. And from those tracks, we have 33 plus ideas to choose from, which go into some really cool examples that you can pick from. So if you're interested in joining, if you already have joined, I just want to give a reminder that the deadline to pick an idea is this Friday at midnight. So the 7th of February at midnight. But yeah, if you're watching, please join the Mammothon, have fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone builds.
Great.
Shameless plug there. I want to let you guys tell us some last like little tips or whatever you want to say.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say that I've just came up with another query. Maybe this is
a
thing. As analyzing not the blob amount, but the blob size for Eclipse is actually super interesting. I think there we can see like the huge data increase Celestia is doing there, or like even Eclipse. As the blob size, we can see like it's going up a lot. Like probably Eclipse is knowing why. Hopefully they have a lot of adoption, maybe some more transactions or stuff. But like this is, for example, just a way of analyzing blobs there.
It's a game.
I'm assuming this is when the update happened, right? I don't know if you have
a game running that is pushing a lot of data. So I think that's a big part of it. Yeah,
probably around Christmas they started the game. That would make sense.
But yeah, it's bonkers. It also lines up very well with the upgrades. So looking forward to the next one as well.
Nice. We too. Us too. We are ready for that.
Yeah, I think we're getting to the point where we're going to need one of our DevOps engineers recommended building a calculator where you can basically predict future storage requirements, so that all the people running nodes on KYVE don't have to scramble over a week or something like that.
We're getting there actually quite easily. It's also a cool thing about KYVE. It's kind of like it's only just like we're pretty storage efficient. We're only having the blocks we need on our node. Of course, I mean, Celestia is more storage intensive than an Osmosis or something like that. Absolutely. But we are managing with this. But it's super interesting. Also, I mean, to see the growth from your side there and stuff. And it's been a lot of fun. Like we're having tons of fun with the data, working with your team and stuff. And also, thank you so much again for giving us the opportunity to showcase those things here. And yeah, hopefully someone finds that useful. Yeah, good luck you all with the hackathon as well on that.
Yeah, thank you again for joining. Thank you for teaching us and showing us some hands-on how-tos with KYVE. I hope to do another one of these with you again soon. Maybe we can go deeper into DataWave, for example. But yeah, thanks again for joining. Thank you everyone for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next build stream. I do want to let you have the last word, though. Any last words for our viewers?
Thank you. Thank you for listening in and watching. And yeah, just have a great time. You can find all of the tools on, yeah, as Christopher said, multiple pages, docs, and everywhere else. And so, yeah, enjoy, have a great time. And thank you so much, Josh.
I would also say thank you. And I would also say if there is another dev, especially in the data space, I would love to see someone break our stuff. That would be great.
Nice.
I would love to see someone finding an issue or an issue with casing, especially because Troy built an extraordinary product. And yeah, let me know if something breaks. I would love to see it.
Amazing. All right, break KYVE, everyone. I'm kidding. Have a good one. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.